Throughout history, there is an elusive story, a story never directly told, only perceivable deep within the whisperings of change. The story of the overlooked, not a story of heroes and geniuses, nor of deities, but a story of the ordinary, the regular, the hard-working who were never heard. It is these figures that have shaped history, and it is their anonymity that keeps the balance of power from tipping over into the oceans of pride and the pit of the human ego. A balance not observable by the eye, but perceivable by the actions of an otherwise unimpressive individual. This is the story of Amani. Amani is a dreamer. Like many, she aspires to do something of significance with her life. But like too many, she is subject to circumstance, chance, context, change. As a young girl, she was inspired by the cosmos and everything that lay beyond and behind it. Her father, a physicist by profession, decorated her room with pictures of the Apollo space program, pictures which had inspired him when he was young, and action figures of both fictional and non-fictional adventurers who traveled through the earth and the cosmos to search for meaning. Amani was born in the Azanian Union, a union of African countries founded on the principles of sharing. The sharing of knowledge, wisdom, and resources between nations, and the acceptance of every identity and culture. The union had struggled for years economically, but had overcome the grip of its colonial legacy and had begun to make its own deep dives into the pursuit of the sciences. Amani came from one of the poorer regions of the union, a reminder that the goal for equal opportunity was one which still needed work. She, however, was fortunate enough to be born into a family which was relatively well off. Her father being a renowned physicist for the union and her mother being a local leader and a programmer, Amani's mother created the software which the union used to clamp down on corruption in its earlier days. And she later decided to use her skill to create software alongside Amani's father, which could help make education available across the entire continent, the world, and perhaps the universe. Programming for Amani's generation was the norm. Everyone knew how to code as a matter of necessity. Students on her campus would gather around and show each other new apps and digital experiences they had created. The music scene revolved around this. Floating holographs of vintage basketball highlights showing images of Kobe Bryant and LeBron James finessing the court, with sounds of original music production and booming 808s saturating the school courtyard. The sound was emanating from a levitating disc. Young, brilliant, vibrant African minds sharing their ideas freely. Fashion designers showing holograms of their style concepts, architects displaying intricate buildings they had crafted, and gamers inviting each other to virtual worlds they had created. All of this magic was set in a relatively humble background. Technology was no longer expensive. It became as available as necessities were, and the things which distinguished those who had less and those who had more were far less visible than they were in the times before the union. In Amani's particular town, everyone would gather on Saturdays at the lake for free food and a community conversation. Now, it was by no means a perfect community, but they spoke to each other often, and the leaders of the community were extremely transparent about everything they were doing. On Fridays, Amani met up with their friends at the shipyard. They did what young adults do. They partied, they laughed, they hollow-projected movies and argued over which alternative endings to choose. This is the story of Amani. Chapter 1.